Welcome to Ill-Equipped History, where two best friends tell you about an interesting person or activity from history.
Activity? Horse riding? Like, what are we doing?
I guess today we're kind of talking about an activity, and it's kind of interesting, but it's not happy. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Activities.
I'm Morgan. And this is my amazing best friend and co-host, Emileigh.
Hey, y'all. Oh, my God.
We've had wine.
I miss you.
I miss you, too. And we're both getting very sleepy.
Yeah, the wine is wearing off. I had 2 glasses because my children were yelling. And then I came down here, and we've already recorded 1 episode. So now it's like we're coming down from last week's very excitable, pairs well with wine episode.
Yes.
And I've been warned. This one is kind of sadder.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
I didn't mean to. I'm going to be honest, I thought I was researching somebody else. And then I was like, oh, wait, this isn't the person I thought it was.
Oh, my God.
But I was too far deep, and I just continued, so it's fine.
That's okay. It's fine.
Why don't we get into the skit, and we'll talk more about the person we're covering today.
I think we should. For sure.
October 16th, 1793, in Paris. Tens of thousands of Parisians fled the streets awaiting the upcoming procession. After hours of waiting, the mob sees their victim, clad in white and restrained. Her cart moves along the crowded streets while commoners scream at her.
Boo! The people will rule again! Monarchy! Death! That's what say! Give us your money!
The woman's face is resolute. She does not cry nor flinch at the verbal abuse. When the cart reaches its destination, she is roughly lifted from her seat and made a march to a large, horrifying guillotine. On her way to the block, she accidentally steps on the executioner's foot.
Pardon, monsieur. I did not do it on purpose.
These are her last words as she kneels before the block. This day marked the end of the French monarchy during the Revolution. France's last queen was misunderstood and blamed for everything wrong with the economy. This story is about a young woman who would live forever in infamy. Marie-Antoinette.
Poor Marie. I've heard that this was not, it wasn't right.
No, I don't think it was. She was unfairly blamed for a lot. She was definitely a scapegoat. We'll talk more about it.
Yeah.
So, 2 quick funny stories before we jump into Marie Antoinette. We mentioned it last week, but Emily and I were trying to figure out like who we each were covering without revealing because we like to surprise each other.
Right.
And I was like, who are you covering? Or what are you covering? And Emily said person. I was like, man or woman? And she said woman. I was like, okay. And we kind of looked at each other. She was like, occupation? And I said French.
She's just French.
She's just French. Which actually, I lied. She's actually Austrian, not French.
Well, she died in France.
She did. And I got her confused with Madame de Pompadour.
Easy mix-up, right?
They're both married King Louis, and they were both women in France. But Marie-Antoinette was actually queen.
It happens.
Also, I am not going to attempt French or German or Austrian pronunciations. I'm going to pronounce them American. Because I'm tired.
Sorry. We're doing our best here.
We're doing our best. I'm not going to get into graphic detail, but just know we will be talking about the French Revolution, and it was a very violent revolution.
Yeah.
So just be aware. We'll talk about that towards the end of the episode. So, Marie-Antoinette. She was born Maria Antonia Josefa Joanna.
Okay.
That was her full name. She was born on November 2nd, 1755 in Vienna, Austria.
Okay.
She was the 15th child
Jesus Christ.
of Holy Roman Emperor Francis I and Habsburg Empress Maria Theresa of Austria.
Jesus Christ, bless her.
She was the second to last child, so there was one more born after her, but she was the youngest daughter.
Okay.
10 of her sisters were also named Marie or Maria, but we're just going to refer to Marie-Antoinette as Marie.
Okay.
I only bring up very briefly one other sister who went by a completely different name. So, and then I'll refer to her mother as Maria Theresa for clarity. So Maria Theresa, her father was the former Holy Roman Emperor.
Okay.
And she's descended from the Habsburg line, which they made it into every single royal line in Europe. They were a very, very powerful family. And Charles VI, her father, made it so that his oldest daughter, Maria Theresa, would inherit his claims and titles. So she was actually the sole heir of all of his power. But despite that, she was not able to claim the title of Holy Roman Emperor. So when she married her husband, Francis I, she helped him ascend to Holy Roman Emperor. Right. And she was the empress, but she was like, she had all the power, really. Like, she did most of the governing.
He was like a figurehead, so she could hold the power, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Basically.
So Marie Antoinette, she was born on November 2nd, which is All Souls Day, which is a day of mourning.
Oh.
Because it's like you have like All Saints Day and an All Souls Day. So it's a day of remembrance. Not a very happy day to be born. So they usually celebrated her birthday on November 1st, which is All Saints Day.
Okay.
So it's a little happier. Also, very interesting, not related to her at all, no matter what people claim, but the day she was born, there was a crazy earthquake that like leveled the capital of Portugal.
What?
Yeah. And there was like, I don't know, like I think people were like, oh, this is a omen of things to come, but she was just a baby born. Like, I don't think it goes that deep. It was just coincidence.
Yeah, things happen on the same day, guys. It's okay.
Yeah. So going back to Maria Theresa, again, she had most of the power. She was literally like signing decrees and documents while like giving birth. Like, she was a busy woman. She did not have time to sit and just give birth to babies. And when Maria was born, there was a lot like finishing up. There had been several decades of conflict between France and Austria. Austria was going through its own shit. They had just recovered territory lost to them in the Austrian War of Succession in the 1740s against Prussia. So there's a lot going on. And when Marie was 6 months old, Maria Theresa proposed to King Louis XV, who's King of France. It was like an offer of betrothal of her daughter to his grandson, who was Louis Auguste. He was only like a year older than her.
Okay.
But nothing really happened. It was just like a prospective betrothal. Like, hey, like, we'll go ahead and like forge this alliance and we'll have them be married when they're of age.
Right.
But nothing was really even made official until they were like 12 and 13, respectively.
Okay.
And when their engagement did become official, the people of France were not super excited about having another foreigner becoming queen. There was a history of bad blood with Austria. So when she would eventually go to France to become queen, they already
hated her.
Yeah.
God bless. The girl was set up to fail from the beginning.
Yeah, unfortunately. So Marie did seem to have a good childhood, that her family is all very close despite the massive age gaps because her oldest siblings were almost 20 years older than her.
Oh my God.
She was close, with all of her siblings, she was closest to her sister Charlotte, who, she had a completely different name I didn't even write down, but it was like Marie something. She went by Charlotte. She was 3 years older than her, and her older brother Joseph, who was about 10 years older than her, they were actually pretty close, and he would also go on to become the Holy Roman Emperor after their father died.
Gotcha.
The Habsburgs, you know, they spent a lot of time together. They engaged in a lot of recreational activities. They would go sledding together. They would go dancing. They played music. And they just, like, they had a good time. Marie actually got to meet Mozart.
What?
Like Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. He was only 2 months younger than her.
No shit.
Yeah. And he was already, like, composing music when he was like 6 or something. And so
it was a ridiculous age.
Yeah. So he was actually invited to the royal palace to, like, play for them.
Cool.
When they were both young. Only 3 of Marie's siblings did not survive infancy. So 13 of the 16 children did survive.
That's impressive.
I know. To at least, like, childhood.
Okay.
Several family members did contract smallpox, including Maria Theresa, and 3 of her siblings did die after contracting smallpox. And Maria Theresa started this campaign to inoculate the city of Vienna, including Marie and her youngest sibling, which it was very dangerous to inoculate because it was literally like exposing you to people with the virus.
Yeah.
Because they didn't, like, understand germs.
Right.
But they survived, and then they were immune from smallpox, which is a good thing.
Right.
Maria Theresa was very involved in all of her children's marriages. Again, like, she set up a betrothal between her youngest daughter when she was only 6 months old. And Maria Theresa was very serious, very, you know, she had a lot on her plate because she was basically governing Austria and the Holy Roman Empire. So Marie was a little bit closer to her father. He was more laid back. He was kind of a party guy.
Good for him.
And Marisa did all the governing and the hard stuff. He was just like, I'm just going to have a good time and sleep around and drink a bunch and, you know, do whatever.
I'm just a dude.
Just a dude. And he could do, like, the governing emperor things, but he just didn't want to.
Listen, don't get between a woman and her goals, okay? Just leave her to it.
Yeah. And it didn't seem like Francis and Maria Theresa were very close. Like, they had a shit ton of children, but
yeah,
again, he had a lot of affairs going on. She was more concerned about governing, but he was very affectionate to all of his children.
Okay.
He spent time with them. He would, like, spend one-on-one time with each of his children. So, and he was a lot more affectionate to them than their mother. Again, their mother was like, these are the things you have to do. You have to be prim and proper. These are all the expectations set upon you by being a royal.
Yeah.
And he was like, we're just here to have a good time.
You know what? I don't hate him.
Yeah. I don't know that much about him to have an opinion on him.
That's true. From what I know.
Yeah. But Marie was close to her father. She was also very musically gifted. She could sight read music. She was very proficient at the harp and the harpsichord. She was an amazing singer. She did not like school.
Yeah.
She liked history. But she hated school. She hated reading. When she was 12, she could barely write.
Oh.
Yeah. Which was not becoming of the princess promised to the Dauphin.
Right.
The future heir of the French throne. And apparently, like, a lot of the Habsburgs were generally trilingual. They could speak German, which was, you know, what the common people spoke. They could speak French because there was a lot of alliances with France and, like, interminglings there. And then they could also speak Italian because there were a lot of Italians in the Habsburg, or a lot of Habsburgs in the Italian royal lines, too. But Marie could only speak French, which was her father's only language. And apparently the video I was watching was like, she spoke French, but with like a German accent.
Huh.
And with a lot of like German colloquialisms, but in French.
That's interesting.
Very interesting. But she was the 15th child.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of investment in her education. Like, most of the priority education went to the boys of the family.
Yeah.
And the girls had the same opportunities, but she didn't like school, and they weren't forcing her to sit down.
They had other shit to worry about.
Right. And her future husband spoke French. So it was like, okay, like, are we really going to try to make her speak other languages when her future husband speaks the language she's going to be speaking primarily anyway?
Nah.
It wouldn't hurt, but like, they're like, pick our battles.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Frances died very suddenly in 1765, which rocked the family. And Maria Theresa spent the rest of her life in mourning. She was devastated. Again, I don't think they were very close, but that was still her husband.
Yeah.
They'd been married for forever. That same year in 1765, Louis Ferdinand, who was Louis XV's son, and Louis XV was the reigning king, Louis Ferdinand died, which left Louis Auguste heir to the throne, and he was only 11 at the time. And this is Marie-Antoinette's future husband.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So when Louis Auguste became heir to the throne, they like came back to the table, renegotiated that Marie-Antoinette would marry Louis Auguste when they were old enough, quote unquote old enough.
Yeah. Not by our standards.
No, not at all. So Louis XV was like, okay, well, she's definitely going to be the future queen, so let's make sure she's educated. So he sent one of his like tutors to her house to like assess, and the tutor was like, man, she don't know shit. So sent for to properly educate her.
Okay.
Because she did need some help. But she was very intelligent. She had a very quick wit, and she took to things quickly. So, and she was able to reason really well. So when people like put the time and effort into her education, she was actually able to gain skills very quickly. Awesome. So she was able to read, she was able to write. She didn't like it. She actively...
But she could.
Didn't seek it out, but she could. So jumping forward to 1770, Marie Antoinette left Austria that May and was escorted by 57 carriages, 117 footmen, and 376 horses to the French border.
What an entourage.
I know. Where she was... she changed out of her Austrian clothes into her French clothes and then continued on to finally meet her husband.
How old was she at this point?
I've seen that she was 14 or 15.
Okay.
Sources go back and forth. So Louis Auguste was either 15 or 16.
Okay.
And they got married on May 18th, 1770. Okay. Again, I've seen 14, 15. I've seen 15, 16. And after they were married, they moved into the Palace of Versailles. And Marie was very homesick. She had spent her entire life living with her family. And now, she's a young girl, you know. But she had a lot of charm. She had a lot of wit. So she was able to kind of charm the French royal court, especially the king. The king loved her, which also helped her own husband and his position in the court.
Right.
But not everyone liked her.
Yeah, well.
The king's mistress hated her.
Oh, why?
Because
jealousy, maybe?
I don't think it was jealousy. I think Marie was mouthy. And she didn't understand all these French royal customs. There was a complete lack of privacy, which she was not used to. She grew up having a lot of privacy in the Austrian royal family, But the French nobility did everything with an audience. Like, she couldn't even, like, put on makeup without dozens of people watching her. She couldn't do anything without an audience. That. Yeah, she did not like it at all, and she spoke out against it.
Yeah.
And spoke out against, like, other French royal customs and was like, all this is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. And a lot of Louis Auguste's older, like, his great aunts and stuff, were like, who's this little whippersnapper coming in and saying she hates all of our customs? So they didn't like her. A lot of the upper nobility didn't like her because she was mouthy.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't even bathe by themselves. They couldn't even get dressed by themselves. They had no privacy. And the king's mistress called her the Austrian. Because there's a lot of issues with her being Austrian.
Right. I mean, it's not like she can pick that.
Right. And unfortunately, like, Louis Auguste had been raised in this environment where Austrians were not seen very highly. And so he had a lot of the same opinions about his own wife that other courtiers did. Which really sucked for them.
Yeah.
So I don't really like talking about this, but it's important to the story. They did not consummate their marriage for 7 years.
Any particular reason why?
There's theories. One theory that I saw, a lot of this was from the video I watched. Sex was not talked about. Like, no one, like, there's no sex education. So there's one thought that, like, on their wedding night, neither of them knew what to do. And then there's speculation that Louis Auguste had some physical issues going on.
Okay.
Like, where sex may have been painful, or he couldn't, get an erection or anything. But what's more, that there's not really any evidence for that. What most historians think is that he had a lot of anxiety about sex and consummating the marriage, and he was just like, no, I can't, because he didn't know what to do. Like, I think the whole thing stressed him out too much. What's crazy, again, there's no privacy. So again, these are teenagers that just got married.
Yeah.
And they didn't consummate their marriage for the first few days after their marriage. So people reported this to the king, because they're like, they're not fucking, King, Your Majesty. And the king was like, they're like teenagers, give them a break, don't pressure them. But this pissed off, like, other people in the court, including his mistress, which, what does she have to do with it? I don't know. And even Maria Theresa was like, why aren't you fucking your husband? You're not doing your wifely duties.
No, you're not doing the 3 Fs, as Julia Child said.
Exactly. And there is some other issues, like there was an issue with Marie spending too much money, which did happen. We'll talk about.
Okay.
So, and we'll come back to the consummation thing a little bit later.
Okay.
Just know, for the first, 4 years pass between they get married and in our next subject, when King Louis XV dies of smallpox.
Okay.
So Louis Auguste is coronated, becomes Louis XVI. He was either 19 or 20 when he took the throne. Mm-hmm. Meaning Marie was only 18 or 19 when she became queen.
Damn.
There was a lot of optimism because by the end of Louis XV's life, he was not liked at all. So with the new king, Louis XVI was seen as, he was sweet, he was intelligent, he was seen as a good negotiator, a good diplomat. Like, he had a lot of really good qualities.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were pretty optimistic about Marie. Like, the people were. Maybe not the courtiers, but like the general public. They're like, maybe this Austrian has some good qualities, you know, like she's witty,
Yeah.
she's charming. But it was not long before attitudes about her started changing. Some of them did have to do with her own behavior. So Louis was very punctual. He went to bed early and woke up early and was like doing all of his kingly duties. Marie was just having a time. She would stay up late and sleep until like noon every day. She would go gamble like crazy sums of money.
She's the queen.
Yeah.
And she's gambling?
She would go to gambling halls and literally just like lose fortunes. And she was going to balls and dances, and she was spending money like crazy. She was buying these crazy wigs, like 3 feet tall.
Honey. No.
There's one report she bought 300 dresses a year.
Almost a dress a day.
Yeah. So she got the nickname Madame Deficit. And people blamed her on the worsening French economy.
Well, it doesn't look good, does it?
No, it does not look good. So Marie and Louis were not having, they were having problems in their marriage.
Right.
From the beginning, honestly. Like, they're two very different people. He's very introverted. He's studious. He likes to read. He likes to kind of be by himself. And Marie is a total extrovert. She's out in the town. She's partying. She's charming. She's, like, they're
She's
just
a
very...
15th child. She's a 15th child.
She is let's see, at this point, she is a 21-year-old, you know, queen.
Yeah.
With immense wealth, who's lived in the royal family her entire life. Like, she's just living it up, having a good time. She's not worried about nothing. But they're not getting along. And
yeah.
I think to get her out of his hair, Louis gives her, I'm going to do my best to pronounce it, Petit Trianon. And it's this estate on the palace grounds that previously belonged to Madame de Pompadour. I imagine it like a little house, like a little like pool house, but, you know,
yeah,
grand and royal and basically small palace. But it was like hers, and she could do with it what she wanted. So she was like starting to remodel it and spend, I mean, she put in like 2 million francs into remodeling this place, like just spending more money. But it gave her a project, got her out of his hair.
Yeah. Go over there. Do that.
And she spent most of her time either in her bedchambers in the palace or at Petit Trianon. She didn't really go out and about a lot on the grounds because she wanted her privacy. Again, like, years are passing and they still have not consummated their marriage, and Marie is becoming very frustrated at this lack of intimacy. And it seems like it's all kinds of intimacy, not just sex, but like emotional intimacy, like all kinds. And so Maria Theresa sent in her son, Joseph, who was now the Holy Roman Emperor. She was like, go talk to them. So there was like no fanfare. There was no like crazy procession. He just showed up like incognito. It was like,
why
hey,
aren't y'all fucking?
Basically. And Joseph and Louis actually got pretty close. And Louis confided in him. And again, that's where they think it was more of like a confidence thing and anxiety about sex.
Right.
So they talk, and Joseph leaves, and they finally consummate their marriage. And things seem okay. Like, Marie was like, I finally like feel like I can be close to my husband again. She actually wrote a letter to her mother. Like, finally! I don't think I'm pregnant yet, but we finally did it!
Oh my God.
And the following year, she had her first child, their daughter, Marie-Theresa Charlotte. And Charlotte came from her favorite sister.
Cute.
And after the birth of their first child, Louis and Marie started becoming a little bit closer. They're like, okay, like now we're a family. It didn't seem like people, like the outside public, were like, finally they have a kid, because there's a lot of rumors and speculation, which I'll talk more about. There's a lot of, the rumor mill was crazy with these two, especially Marie. But Marie and Louis would eventually have 4 children together. Marie Therese Charlotte, Louis Joseph Xavier Francois, Louis Charles, and Sophie Beatrice over the next several years.
Yeah.
And Marie was a devoted mother, but royal customs made it so she couldn't be, like, participating in the day-to-day raising of her children. They had, like, governesses and whatever. But she loved her children more than anything. So, like I said, there were a lot of opinions about the king and queen. Political cartoons were made about them, making fun of them. There's a lot of tabloids criticizing them, coming up with rumors. And especially with Marie, the rumors started becoming a lot more sexual in nature and very dark. A lot of rumors about torrid affairs galore, which it was just speculation. And part of it was because she was so private. People were like, what does she have to hide? She's not showing us her life, so we're just going to make up shit.
Leave her alone.
But there is evidence of one affair.
Oh, no.
At least one. With a man named Count Axel von Fürsten. And he was a Swedish count who actually, they had met after her and Louis got married, and they got close, and he went to go fight for the revolution in America, and then he returned, and they, like, rekindled their friendship, and they were very close. He was her closest confidant, and she gave him a room above hers in Petit Trianon.
Oh.
And in 2016, letters were found confirming their relationship and deep love for each other.
Oh, the scandal continues.
Scandal. Yes.
Scandal. In 2016?
Yes, because there's almost no evidence. Like, they think that they burned, like, all the letters and stuff and correspondence. Yeah. But in the video I was watching, there was, like, a joint effort between Swedish and French, like, historians and documentarians. And they were going through these different archives, and there were coded letters that were found between Count Versailles and Marie that confirmed their affair.
Oh my God.
Crazy. But, and there's speculation. I don't know if anyone knew for sure if Fersen was one of her affair partners. I'm sure people speculated as well as like every other man that, like, crossed her path. But it got to the point
she look at everyone.
Right. And it got to the point where critics were like, none of her children are the king's children.
Oh.
Which, there's no evidence whether they were or weren't.
Damn, they hated her that bad.
They hated her. For no reason, really. I mean, she did spend a lot of money. But she is not responsible for the downfall of the country. But she was blamed for it. In the late 1700s, France was undergoing a lot of change.
Yeah.
As we know, France had backed the Americans during the American Revolution as a way to undermine the British.
Right.
Which fucking bankrupted France. They were broke as hell.
Yeah.
The monarchy was completely out of touch with what was going on day to day in French citizens' lives.
As a lot of them are.
Right. I mean, they're in their castle all day. Like, with dignitaries and other nobility, like, they don't know. And there were years of poor harvests and rising food costs. Like, people couldn't afford bread anymore. Like, it was starting to get really, really bad. Along with the major debt. Like, the economy was starting to become in shambles, and there was a lot of unrest growing. It did not help, again, that Marie spent a shit ton of money all the time. She was a big patron of the arts again. Like, she loved art, so she would just, like, throw money at her favorite artists, which I'm sure they appreciated.
Yeah.
And this is one of the most out-of-touch things I've ever heard. So, it doesn't sound real. On the palace grounds, Marie had made, like, a little miniature farm. And she paid a peasant family to, like, come out and, like, milk the cows and do, like, gather eggs for the chickens and stuff. And then she and her friends and ladies in waiting and her children would, like, dress in white gowns and, like, play act farming and, like, milk the cows themselves and, like, basically a big pretend farm while people are starving to death.
She was very out of touch.
Yes.
And I can't say it's completely her fault because of just the way she was raised.
Right.
And the environment she's surrounded. But my God.
Yeah, the indulgences that she engaged in did not help people's attitude. No. What'd you say?
Someone tell her no.
I know, right? And people started blaming her on all of France's problems.
Yeah.
Which, France's problems go back hundreds of years before this. All this stuff did not happen in a vacuum.
She just happened to be there at the wrong time.
And she's a foreigner. And people don't want to criticize the king. So, the queen is the next best scapegoat.
Right.
Okay, now I have to tell you, this is so ridiculous. This has nothing to do with Marie, but it was another big scandal that further caused a lot of animosity against her. It's called the Affair of the Diamond Necklace in 1785. Okay. So she was presented by these jewelers to buy this crazy necklace. It had like 700 diamonds.
Jesus.
And they were all of the highest quality, absolutely beautiful, like dripping necklace with all these diamonds. I mean, this thing would cost like $7 million today.
Yeah.
Like absolutely insane. So they approached her and said, "Would you like to buy this necklace?" And she sensibly said, "No, thank you."
Yes.
She didn't, I don't know why, but she just didn't want to buy it. I think it belonged to the former king's mistress.
Gotcha.
So she was like, "No, thank you." So these people, I don't know who they are, but they're called thieves. They want to get the necklace. So they convince like this lower nobleman or cardinal or someone like, "Hey, the queen wants this necklace. If you buy it," but she doesn't want to be seen buying it because, again, her reputation. "So if you buy it for her, she'll give you the money for the necklace." So he's like, "Sure." So he pays for the necklace, he buys it, and then the thieves steal it from this guy, and then he goes to the king and queen and is like, "Hey, where's my money?" And they're like, "What the fuck? We didn't buy this necklace, you got scammed." And he's like, "But that's not my fault." And it was this whole debacle, and the thieves run off with the necklace, and the cardinal was put on trial because he's considered an accomplice to the theft.
Oh, no.
But he gets off completely scot-free. Like, he's acquitted of the crime.
Right.
But Marie-Antoinette is blamed for this.
It's because her name is in it.
And people are like, "Wow, like, what a shitty human. She didn't even pay this guy." And, like, her name is being dragged through the mud. And she's like, "I literally had nothing to do with this. These people scammed with my name. And now the people hate me even more. And now this guy is facing no consequences, even though he's talking shit about me. Because I didn't pay him back for money I never promised him in the first place." It's just a whole big mess.
That's
this
crazy.
Huge scandal that continues.
That's crazy.
It's
like, you can dislike somebody, but not everything is their fault.
Right. But she's an easy scapegoat. And very tragically, in 1787, Sophie, their youngest daughter, dies of tuberculosis at 11 months old.
Oh.
And they're very, Marie's devastated. But there's other things going on in France, unfortunately. Again, France is heavily in debt. And so there's three, I can't remember what they're called. They're like three groups of society in France. You have the clergy, you have the nobility, and you have the common people. The church, the clergy, and the nobility do not have to pay taxes. Whereas all the taxes fall on the common people, and they're being taxed to death after the Revolutionary War to try to build up some more of the economy. And they're pissed. They're like, we're being taxed to death. This is exactly what started the American Revolution, was taxes.
I love when things come full circle, don't you?
Right.
Jeez.
So Louis XVI did try to enact some kind of change in the tax law to try to get the clergy and the nobility to pay taxes. But they didn't want to. And then Marie-Antoinette was blamed for this and was given the nickname Madame Veto.
What? She didn't do anything. She's not the king.
I know. She was blamed for the lack of follow-through with this tax law.
Did she say she was going to go do it herself? No. It was her husband.
Again,
my God.
She's the scapegoat. So between 1787 and 1789, Louis XVI's health begins declining. He's starting to drink more. He's just really struggling. So Marie actually was like, okay, my husband's really struggling with king stuff. I'm going to step up to the plate and try to do queen shit. But she had no idea what the fuck she was doing. She had no idea what the political scheme was in France. She had no idea what the hell was going on. She tried, but she didn't know shit. She was not educated properly on the issues that were plaguing France.
Yeah.
So she was trying to hire people to okay, we need to fix the economy. But they couldn't figure it out, so then she would fire them and hire new people. Okay, let's fix the economy, and they didn't know, and so she'd fire them and hire new people. No one knew what to do, and she started becoming more active, but just it didn't really go anywhere. And the things that she was able to do were for Austrian interests. And people were like, she's suspicious because she's advocating for Austrian interests. Even though she's French, even though we call her the Austrian. It's just messy.
It's messy.
And in 1789, on June 4th, their son, Louis Joseph, who's the oldest son, died of tuberculosis. Oh. He was only 7. Oh. And Marie and Louis were devastated. This is their oldest son. He's the heir to the throne and, their child. But because of all the political upheaval going on in France, it wasn't even discussed, really. People's mind were on other things, unfortunately. So in 1789, that same year, there was a gathering of representatives from all three groups of people, the clergy, the nobility, and the common people, at Versailles. And again, the rich and the church did not want to give up on their luxuries. They didn't want to be taxed more. And the common people said, we have had enough. We want a constitution like America does. Mm-hmm. And all the nobility were like, no, we do not want a constitution. So the common people were like, fuck you. We're going to create the National Assembly and we're going to govern ourselves.
Okay.
But this isn't really the people are sticking up for themselves, are starting to govern themselves, but nothing's really changing. Nothing's really getting better. Mm-hmm. They're facing worsening hardship. And Marie kept getting blamed for their problems. Yeah. They made political cartoons against her and how every action went to, quote, undermining the French nation. She just could not win.
Yeah.
So they tried, the French people want a constitution. They want a constitutional government. They want to rule from themselves. A monarchy is no, or a monarchy. So there a lot more unrest is starting to happen. People are starting to get more frisky.
Yeah, they're it's building up.
Yes.
It's building and building.
Yes.
And it's about to pop the top off of this thing.
100%. So
yeah.
Marie had Louis bring in some Swiss troops to, like, help prevent major violence. Right. This did not help at all. People were pissed off. Like, they're bringing the military to cut us down.
That's what happened in the American Revolution, is that the British came over to try to regulate, and everyone was like, go away.
Yeah. So riots began. And July 14th, 1789, 900 French workers and peasants stormed and captured the Bastille.
Oh, no. Okay.
Which was an armory. They took arms, they took ammunition, they killed the governor of the Bastille. This is the start of the French Revolution. Yeah. A lot of aristocrats were like, we're gonna go. We're gonna get out of here because things are getting scary.
Bye!
Yeah. And Marie wanted to leave. She was like, hey, things are getting real scary here. We need to get out of here. But Louis was like, no, I'm not going to be a coward and leave. I'm going to stay here.
Yeah, send your wife and children away.
Well, Marie wouldn't leave her husband, so she agreed to stay. So in October of 1789, there was a rumor going around that a grand feast was going to be held in Versailles. It was just a rumor. I couldn't find if this was actually true or not. It seems like most of the revolution was going off of rumors. And there was a major food shortage at the time. Again, people couldn't afford bread. So a mob of women were pissed. And they began forming this giant crowd and stormed the Palace of Versailles. And they got more and more people. Eventually 10,000 people were gathered at the palace and demanding that the king and queen be brought to Paris. They try to find Marie, who again is usually at Petit Trianon. So they storm her bedchambers, and they actually kill 2 of her guards to try to get to her. And she manages to escape.
Wow.
And gets to her husband. And when the people find that she's not in her bed, they destroy it. And they're continuing to tear stuff up. Finally, Marquis de Lafayette, who is the head of the National Guard in France, shows up. He manages to calm people down, like, no one else is going to die today. He is one of the leaders of the revolution, but he also has, like, a bit of a calmer head on his shoulders.
Okay.
So, but the king and queen and their family are taken from the palace and are escorted to the palace of Tuileries, which is another palace, like, more in Paris. They never return to Versailles.
Wow.
After this. And they're basically placed under house arrest. But after this event, Louis is like, I have no idea what to do. And Marie is like, okay, let's get to work. Like, we need to figure something out. We got to start working together. So she starts working with members of the National Assembly to try to figure something out.
Okay. So she's trying to figure out a compromise between everything.
So she was able to negotiate where the people could have a constitution while also maintaining the monarchy.
Okay.
They're able to negotiate something. And while a lot of people strongly disliked her, like, she hated Marquis de Lafayette and he hated her, but a lot of people were like, you know, she's a smart lady and we respect her.
Yeah.
But during all of this, she's, like, sending staying up until, like, the wee hours of the morning, sending secret messages to royalist sympathizers and her own family back in Austria.
Oh.
So she's like a double agent of sorts. Because she wants to hold on to the monarchy. She's the queen.
Yeah. You gotta cut it when... You gotta know when to walk away.
Right.
Know when to fold it, Marie.
Right.
Oh,
so
no.
She did have an ally. I didn't get his name, but she did have an ally who was a revolutionary who was like working very closely with her, and he ended up dying. I think he was old. So tensions continue to grow, and in 1791, they were like, okay, we do need to get out of here. So the royal family agreed to escape and flee to Austria with the assistance of Count Axel.
Okay.
Her affair partner.
Her lover.
Her lover. So they are fleeing Paris, and at one point, Louis orders Count Axel to leave. And I saw a couple of reasons why. One was that he did not want to be seen fleeing France with a foreign agent, because he was, Count Axel was Swedish. And you know how the France feel about foreigners. There's another thought that he wanted to get rid of his wife's affair partner.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
That one's believable for sure.
Yes. So he leaves. They continue going. And at one point they're in like this really rural area, and they decide to like get out, stretch their legs a little bit. Louis is recognized by the postmaster because of the coinage. The king's profile is on coins, and literally he's recognized from the coinage. So they're like, oh my God, it's the royal family. And they're like investigating their luggage. And the king brought his crown and like royal garments with him. So the National Guard comes in and escorts them right back to Paris. And so what's crazy is that there was a rumor that because Marie-Antoinette's brother is the Holy Roman Emperor, and like her family has power in Austria. So there's this rumor that Marie and Louis were going to flee to Austria, and then Joseph was going to retaliate against France with his army and reinstate the monarchy and tear down the revolution.
Oh.
No evidence this was actually going to happen, but it was a rumor.
Yeah.
So now people think that they're traitors to France because of
trying to stay alive.
I know. So they're escorted back to Tuileries, the palace. The royal family returns. Louis is on the throne again because of the agreement of that they would uphold a constitution and a monarchy at the same time. At least more like a figurehead, more symbolic.
Right.
But the real ruling power would be with the people.
Right.
But then the French revolutionaries are like, okay, the problems aren't just with the rich. Like, it's not just with the bourgeoisie. It's not just with the nobility. It's with the monarchy. The monarchy is the reason why our country is shit right now. Mm-hmm. And the revolutionary government, I could not find why, but they decided, let's declare war on Austria.
Why?
One source said to see what the king and queen would do. I guess, like, test their loyalties. But it didn't go well.
No.
Like, because the French military was in shambles. The monarchy was once again blamed. Because...
And they didn't do that.
No, they didn't. But they were blamed, and they were overthrown and locked in a tower.
Oh my God.
So my next section is called Downward Spiral, and this is where it's going to start getting a little rough. Just so y'all know. So in the summer of 1792, France is at war with Austria and Prussia. One of the leaders of the revolution, his name is Maximilien de Robespierre, calls for the removal of the king. In that September, they begin massacring the French nobility and aristocrats. One of Marie's best friends, the Princess de Lamballe, was literally torn apart in a street.
Oh my God. This is so past the point. It's like rabid. It's like...
Yeah, feral.
And I understand the feral. Yeah, that's a good word. I understand a revolution. That's too far.
tearing people apart and then parading their body parts around the street is a little much. A lot
That
much.
poor
It's
girl
too much.
didn't do anything.
I know.
She was just born into something.
Right. So in December of that year, in 1792, Louis XVI was put on trial for treason.
Mm-hmm.
They convicted him, and on January 21st, 1793, he was dragged to the guillotine and executed. So Marie, she's still imprisoned. I think after her husband was killed, she was like thrown like a horrible, dirty, terrible cell. Yeah. And her children were taken away from her.
Oh, did they live?
One does.
Okay.
Her youngest son was captured by the revolutionaries, and he was technically heir to the throne. So he was physically, verbally, and emotionally abused to try to brainwash him into understanding the revolutionary side and to become sympathetic to their cause. Marie was put on trial for treason. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing was a farce. Like, it essentially became a rehashing of all of the rumors that were put in, like, the tabloids. Yeah. There was no actual evidence against her. They accused her of secret correspondence with Austria, which she did do, but they had no evidence of that. Wow. That wasn't found until way later in, like, letters and stuff. So they had no evidence. And this is so awful. The people who had captured her son had basically made him say that his own mother was molesting him.
Oh my God. It was a forced confession.
Yeah. And by all accounts, it was not true.
Yeah.
And so in response to being accused of sexual abuse and incest, Marie said, quote, "Nature refuses to answer such a charge brought against a mother. I appeal in this matter to all mothers present in the court." And actually a lot of women were like, we support her.
That's too far.
Yeah, we don't think she committed incest. And the incest charge was dropped. But she was still charged with treason. Because, awful. And at this point, and the video I was watching made this point that Louis was dead.
Yeah.
Like, he was no longer in power. She no longer had any power. She couldn't do anything. Like, she had no one. Like, her children were taken from her. Her husband was gone. Like, she had nothing. This was just symbolic at this point.
They could have sent her back to Austria.
They could have. And so when asked, like, what she had to say about this, she said, quote, "I was a queen, and you took away my crown. A wife, and you took away my husband. A mother, and you took away my children. My blood alone remains. Take it if you wish, but do not make me suffer long."
Damn.
So she was sentenced to execution. And it's rumored that the night before her execution, her hair turned white.
Damn.
Which apparently it's become known as Marie-Antoinette syndrome. No one knows why. There's also another story from like the 1500s where a guy who opposed King Henry VIII's like Anglican church, his hair turned white the night before his execution. So, not sure if this is a real thing. I don't know how that could happen.
Yeah.
But people think it's caused by extreme stress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on October 16th, 1793, Marie was dressed in a white dress, like a white peasant dress that was brought to her by her captors. And she was placed on a cart and driven through the streets of Paris while the crowd booed her. She did not cry. She held up her head high. Her critics said that she was haughty and, arrogant, noble. But in the video it said if she had cried or like begged for her life, they would have called her a coward. So there was no way for her to have won. And on her way to the executioner's block, she accidentally stepped on the executioner's foot. And her last words were, "Pardon, monsieur, I did not do it on purpose." and she knelt in front of the block, and she died.
Damn.
And then they took her head and held it in front of the crowd, who then yelled. She was 37 years old.
Jesus Christ.
So Marie's daughter was able to escape.
Mm-hmm.
But Louis Charles, who's the youngest son who had been captured, he died at 10 years old from tubercular fever. So he survived 3 years in captivity before he died. Marie-Therese, who was their oldest child, she did live a long life, but it was a very hard life. She was basically in exile for the rest of her life and just kind of like moved around to different European courts until she died in 1851 at the age of 72.
Wow.
Which is really crazy to think about.
It's so recent.
Yeah.
Damn. I wonder why she couldn't go back to, like, her mother's family.
I'm not sure. I didn't see what was going on with the Habsburgs. I don't know if they, like, were trying to maintain some kind of alliance. I don't know what was going on. I didn't really look into it. So in 1815, Marie's and Louis XVI's remains were actually moved to the Abbey of Saint Denis, which is where they remain today. So they were moved to like a royal crypt.
Wow.
Her legacy, she became a symbol of everything wrong with the monarchy, even though her, in my opinion, her only crime was like belonging to the Habsburgs family and then marrying into the French royal family. Like, I mean, she did spend a lot of money, like a hell of a lot of money, but it wasn't illegal.
No. And it wasn't, she probably wasn't thinking a thing about it.
She's like, oh, I have this money, I'm going to spend it.
Yeah, might as well.
She was very out of touch, and I got this quote from history.com, quote, "What Marie-Antoinette was actually like was beside the point. The image of the queen was far more influential than the woman herself."
Yeah.
What she symbolized was more important than who she actually was as a person. And then my next point is about the "let them eat cake" quote, because there is a misattributed quote to Marie-Antoinette where, in response to being told that starving peasants couldn't even afford bread, she said, well, let them eat cake. There's no evidence that Marie-Antoinette actually said this. She was actually a very compassionate person, donated to charity a lot. Even though she was out of touch, she wasn't that out of touch. Yeah. So the quote actually appears in a 1766 text written by Jean-Jacques Rousseau in his book Confessions. That was written when she was 11. And then there was another quote, which may have been made in 1660 by King Louis XIV's wife, Marie-Therese, who's a Spanish princess, not her own mom.
Yes.
So it was either 100 years before she was born or when she was only 11. But there's no evidence that Marie-Antoinette actually said, let them eat cake. That rumor started after her death as a way to like continue to show just how out of touch she was with the common French people. Additional legacy, I mean, almost everyone knows who she is. She is the last queen of France with this monarchy. There's been lots of books about her, both fiction and dramatized. There was a film in 1938 starring Norma Shearer as Marie-Antoinette, and then another film in 2006 starring Kirsten Dunst and directed by Sofia Coppola. There's also a 2023 TV show, and there's a new film coming out, or I think it already come out, because I think this article was published in 2023, called Chevalier. And it was about the friendship between Marie-Antoinette and Chevalier de Saint-Georges and their friendship. He was known as the Black Mozart. So he was like a violinist, and like he did other stuff. So there's a movie about that, and that's what I have on Marie-Antoinette.
I feel so... Like, I understand why, you know, the people of France would look at her spending an egregious amount of money and dislike her greatly for it. But it got out of hand, and the bloodiness of it was not necessary.
Yeah. And they started attacking, like, her character as a person. They started making all these sexual rumors about her that just were not true, which I think was completely inappropriate. I mean, they forced her child to confess that she was molesting him for no reason. Like,
all that hate builds up in a person, and it spills out. Remember that, guys.
Yeah.
Damn.
Sorry.
I always knew she had a, like, rough go at it. But this was a rough go at it.
I'm sorry to depress everyone once again.
It's okay. It happens. History is not always happy.
Yeah.
But it's
we
important.
We can't all have Julia Child's life, unfortunately.
We could all try to do her voice, though.
Should we do socials?
I think we should. Okay. You can find us on Facebook,
Ill-Equipped History Podcast Group and Page.
Instagram,
At Ill-Equipped History.
TikTok,
At Ill-Equipped History.
Gmail,
ill-equippedhistory@gmail.com.
and Patreon.
Patreon.com/ill-equippedhistory.
You know what? Do you know who would let them eat cake? Julia Child.
She would. She would make them cake and then let them eat it.
Yes.
And not make people, not lead people to overthrow a French government, hopefully.
Yeah. You know, if you don't like the government, please don't kill anyone.
Yeah. You can protest. You can, make your voice heard with your vote. You can write to your legislatures.
Marita.
Yeah, don't tear people apart in the streets. Don't bring out guillotines. It's not good.
That's icky. That's icky behavior. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
Go write in a journal about your feelings. Mm-hmm. And then go vote about it.
Yeah.
It's the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.